Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to the match preview segment for our next game coming up at Goodison against West Ham United. David Moyes, of course, coming back to Everton. It's going to be a very interesting game. This West Ham, of course. I'm joined by Owen Parks for this one. Loads to get through in this one. There's plenty of different little talking points for us to touch on. We'll get straight into it, of course, with the obvious thing is obviously David Moyes coming back up against Everton. David Moyes coming up against Rafa Benitez as well, which always been an interesting battle in its own right. So, Owen, what's your take on West Ham and how are you feeling going into this one?
I was saying to someone, I can't remember when it was now. It was a while. It was a few weeks ago when this game was coming up as our next home game. I said I was worried about this one. I think they've had a couple of weeks break now with there being the international break, and they haven't just played on Thursday. And all being said, David Moyes has done a fantastic job at West Ham in turning the team that were very much down in spirits when he came in the relegation zone. Kept them up, got into Europe. Now they're doing well in Europe and they're sort of trying to consolidate in the top half, which something they really haven't been able to do for a number of years. Stay in that top half. They've had, not as good as last season, but they've had good seasons in the past, but they haven't backed it up by being in the top half again before. But
they've yo-yoed between like top and bottom half like every other season, haven't they?
They've never really got a consistent run together, have they? But I think with Moyes now, I think they've got as good a chance to doing this as they ever have, because I think he's got them very well drilled in terms of what he wants them to do with and without the ball. He's got a great mix of some nice technical players who make things happen and sort of workman-like, sort of more energetic players who seem to not give teams a minute on the ball or anything. So he's got a healthy balance, much like he did at Everton. And yeah, he's doing really well. I think it's going to be a different game. I think West Ham under David Moyes, in my opinion, aren't too different from Everton under Rafa Benitez in terms of sort of systems and the way they go about the game. Obviously, there's differences, but I think really both teams try and play a similar way. So it'll be a case of who gets one up on the other. Obviously, we got beat 1-0 at home last season against West Ham. I think Souček scored, and it was a bit of a counter-attacking performance after them where they sat deep and nicked it. And it was very much the same when we went to the London Stadium. We scored early on and defended really well and won the game. And I think Sunday's game will be a bit more life in the games than the game than I think there was in the two games last season, due to just being fans in the ground.
Fans in the ground, yeah.
You can't put a price on what 40,000 Evertonians sort of making their voice heard does to a game. So yeah, I think it'll be a really difficult game. I think West Ham are a really good team, good manager, but we've got a good team as well, and I feel like the first goal is important because whoever scores the first goal, it can generally settle into the game and sort of execute their game plan better than the other team from then on, because obviously they planned for the whole game to play that way. So I think West Ham, don't give them a goal in front, because I think they'll have the tails up then, and I think it'll be more difficult for us to come back than it has been in other games where we conceded first.
Yeah, I think that was something that was a trademark under David Moyes. He didn't often let the lead slip.
No, they've been a bit more. They had a period from about sort of February to the end of the season last year where they were really cavalier, and they had loads of sort of attacking players on the pitch, and it helped them because it nearly got them into the Champions League. But obviously, Moyes being Moyes, he's gone back. He's reverted to type a bit more this season, and West Ham become more solid again. But Zoom has helped them. I think they brought in a few ex-Everton players, Vlasic as well. So I think they're a really dangerous team. It would just be interesting to see how we set up.
Yeah, in terms of our setup, who can you expect personnel-wise? We had a few hints to that today, didn't we? About apparently Seamus Coleman might be back. Luca Dean's back in trade, and whether that means he'll play, I don't know. But
it just depends on who's fully fit and sharp. I think if we've got, like I said, if we've got all them back, you just hope that one of Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin are back, because they could play up front and really help Rondon out, who's been quite isolated in the games he has played, because he's, especially the Man U one, because we were trying to defend and not concede against them because they've got so many good players. But when the ball came back to him, until the second half, in the first half, he just didn't get enough men around him. And that's what we've got to do on Sunday when we counter. We've got to get men round whoever the striker is, because they were too isolated and on the game against Man United. So that's something we can improve on. I think you're looking for Townsend and Gray to continue their form, Decore and Allen to continue, and the back four to hopefully we can from now on keep the same back four for a few games, because we've just had injury after injury.
Yeah, I mean, it was almost like we could have foreshadowed this with the fact that we didn't sign a defender in the transfer window.
It was a mix of things with the transfer window, but ultimately, I don't think that the 1.7 million we spent in the summer helped her cause at all, because we're looking at it now and we see that we don't have a great deal of depth, and we're worried that Alex Iwobi gets injured, who people were casting to one side last season, but because he's had a few decent performances and he's really, with Gordon, the only option we've got on the bench, that we hope he doesn't get injured, because we won't have anyone else to play that role. So it's imperative that we try and stay as fit as possible, because I'm worried what will happen will be the same as last season, where we have a really good start till about March. We're in pretty much pole position to get Europe, but because we don't have the options and players aren't playing for whatever reason, then we struggle to get over the line to get Europe, and we fall down the league, not through any fault of our own, but due to just the sheer lack of options.
Yeah, I think obviously the team starts to burn out eventually when you sort of overplaying players, because we haven't got any players to rotate in for them, regardless of whether they get injured or not.
We saw that game at the end of last season. It was away at Brighton, and I think Sigurdsson started up front or something. And we just didn't have strikers on the pitch because there was none. Well, we've got Rondon this season, but we needed more options. We don't, so we really need a bit of luck with the injury situation. Otherwise, I think we're going to struggle to qualify for Europe once more.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of who is available, can you see it being the usual sort of Allen and Decore will be in the middle?
Yeah, I think Gray and Townsend off the flanks. Hopefully, with Darlison's fit.
If
and
not,
he plays with Rondon.
If not, will it be Gordon again, do you think?
Yeah. And then the back four, Mina, Keane, Coleman and Dean of the fit.
If it's not Dean, I presume it'll be Coleman back in and Godfrey over at the left back again.
Yeah, that's what I presume. And Pickford in goal.
Yeah, so not colossal changes from what we saw against Manchester United then, but in terms of West Ham, where do you think they could hurt us? You know, like I say, we've got a couple of really good players. And,
I'm not sure what their injury situation's like, so it's pretty much on what I presume they'll start with. But Antonio is always a real threat. Is he going to be available?
I don't know. I haven't even looked into it, to be honest.
Because I haven't really in tuned into who's been fit from the international scene. So if he's fit, he'd be really dangerous because
he looks fit. Looks like he's fit.
Yeah, Antonio. Thomas Souček from set pieces, crosses, corners, and open play. Really, he's really good. Obviously, the fullbacks get forward, Sufal and I think Cresswell, and they get crosses in the box.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of little different options and that was always a thing of Moyes' side. They were never particularly outstanding at anything, but they had a couple of different. They were always they always were a little bit good at everything. Where they were like, they had a couple of different like strings to the bow. You could lump it long, you could knock it around, you could.
Yeah, it's yeah, and I get the same feeling now because they've got like I said, they've got a mix of good technical players with a strong physical edge, and that ultimately makes them a strong Premier
That's how you
League team.
cut it in the Premier League, basically.
Yeah, he knows, doesn't he? He knows what it takes. So it's no surprise that they're doing well because he's got a track record of it. And is he possibly one of the most underrated Premier League managers because he doesn't seem to, when people talk about this manager and that manager, he isn't held up in the regard, but for the jobs he does at teams, he always gets them into a strong position. His Everton teams and this West Ham team, that they're good sides, and I don't think neither team really does quite get the credit what they deserve.
Yeah, I don't think either side. I think both sides are underrated sides, and I think we need to become more like that again. I think in terms of our performances, like we need to become more like the Everton of old, and just be a bit more workmanlike rather than greater than the sum of our parts, rather than less than the sum of our parts. I think that's what Moyes has done with West Ham, and I think that's what Benitez is starting to do here.
Yeah, like I said, there's certainly similarities between the situations at the club. I do. We're very much a counter-attacking sort of functional team, and we're not a team full of great elegance and splitting the centre halves at the edge of our box and passing out. And we're not really one for a number 6 or anything. We're very much a good counter-attacking team who work hard for what we get. It's very effective while we're playing, but I think you only have to see the stat that we're 20th in the league for possession to show we're not particularly elegant ourselves. We're very much the workman-like team. So yeah, it's serving us well. So I think as long as we keep going forward with the same mentality to create enough chances and to keep them out, then it's all you can ask for, really.
Yeah, well, happy enough. I think as long as it delivers the goods, basically get the results. That's the most important thing. It's going to be a really close contest, I think, this game.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to see how it pans out because I think it'll be quite edgy, but I think it'll be quite entertaining too. In a way, I think it'll be a game where there might be missed chances and it ebbs and flows in terms of who the game goes in periods and maybe who will nick it in the end. We'll see, but I think I'm looking forward to the game. I think if we win, it will reaffirm our credentials to try and get into Europe.
Yeah, I think it's
I believe I haven't seen this, but I believe I've seen this. But I believe if we win the game, it'll be our best start since the 04-05 one.
Really? Bloody hell.
I'm not. Don't quote me on it, but I believe that's what I've seen anyway.
But regardless of what happened, I think the most important thing, I think, like you say there, we beat a side here who had a really good year last year and finished above us. You know, that's a big statement. I think to beat a side who ended up usurping us towards the end of last season, and that sort of sends out a statement that we could go on better than last year.
Yeah, they're a good side. They got into Europe. They're in Europe. They're probably, if you ask people, they may be favourites to finish above us again. I don't know what the outside opinion of that is, but I think they're two well-matched teams. I think from our point of view, the home advantage probably may make us favourites of the game. I don't know, but I'm certainly feeling confident that we can get something from the game.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident myself that we can at least give it a go. So, in terms of that, just before we wrap up, of course, prediction. What do you think? Where are you going for?
2-1 Everton, I think.
That was exactly what I was going for.
Yeah, 2-1. I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be a good game. I'm backing 2-1, and I think Townsend will score again. Townsend with the winner.
Hopefully, yeah. But I'm not really bothered who gets it as long as, if it's 2-1 win, I'll take that any day.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
Win to win. Clean sheet mentality, let's make it 1-0.
Yeah. It's 2-1, we'll take that too. We'll take 7-6 if it means us winning.
Free-flowing game. But there you have it. We're both on for the same prediction, 2-1 win for Everton, hopefully. What do you guys think in terms of your predictions? Or tuning in, let us know your opinions. Drop us a comment, let us know your predictions for this game and how you're feeling going into it, how you think it's going to pan out. Get commenting, give this video a like, and subscribe for more content. And until next time, guys, thanks for tuning in on Toffee Blues, and we'll see you soon.